Alright, let's dive into this week's lineup of films, but trust me, we're not just listing them, we're unpacking what makes each one worth your time. And I'll be honest, there's one that immediately grabbed my attention, and it's not the one you might expect. Let's start with Hamnet. Now, personally, I think what makes this adaptation so compelling is how it handles the unspoken emotions of Maggie O'Farrell's novel. Chloe Zhao doesn't just translate the book to screen, she captures its essence. Jessie Buckley's performance as Agnes is, in my opinion, the heart of the film. She's not just Shakespeare's wife, she's the emotional anchor of the story. What many people don't realize is how Agnes's connection to the natural world contrasts with Shakespeare's intellectual detachment. It's a detail I find fascinating, and it adds layers to their relationship, especially when tragedy strikes. If you take a step back and think about it, this isn't just a period drama, it's a study of how grief can either unite or fracture a family. Now, let's pivot to parallel mothers. Pedro Almodóvar is a master of weaving complex narratives, and this film is no exception. Penélope Cruz's performance is, as always, stellar, but what really stands out is how the film intertwines personal and national histories. The Civil War backdrop isn't just a setting, it's a character in its own right. One thing that immediately stands out is how Almodóvar uses the baby swap to explore themes of identity and inheritance. It's not just about the characters, it's about Spain's unresolved past. From my perspective, this film is a forceful reminder of how personal dramas can reflect broader societal wounds. Switching gears, Speed is a classic, but what makes this really interesting is how it holds up today. Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock are iconic, but let's be real, it's Bullock who steals the show. Her character isn't just a damsel in distress, she's a problem solver. What this really suggests is that action films in the 90s were starting to give female characters more agency, even if subtly. And Dennis Hopper's unhinged villain. Pure gold. If you've never seen it, this is a must-watch for its tension and pacing alone. Now, Missing is a film that feels incredibly relevant in our digital age. The entire story unfolds through screens, which is inherently claustrophobic, but that's the point. What makes this really interesting is how it uses technology not just as a gimmick, but as a tool to build suspense. Storm Reed's character is resourceful, but she's also isolated, which raises a deeper question. How connected are we when we're constantly behind a screen? Personally, I think this film is a clever commentary on our reliance on technology, even in moments of crisis. Gladiator II, let's talk about this. Ridley Scott returning to the Colosseum after 24 years. Bold move. Paul Mescal stepping into this world as Lucius feels like a natural fit, but what many people don't realize is how the film explores themes of legacy and rebellion. It's not just about the fights, it's about what it means to carry the weight of your father's name. Denzel Washington as Macrinus. Chef's kiss. In my opinion, this sequel could have felt forced, but it manages to stand on its own by digging into deeper questions about freedom and identity. A Child of My Own is the kind of documentary that starts as one thing, and then completely flips the script. Maite Alberti draws you in with what seems like a straightforward story, but then, boom, the narrative unravels. What this really suggests is that truth is often messier than we're led to believe. The telenovela-style visuals are a clever choice, because they mirror the dramatic twists of the story. One thing that immediately stands out is how the film challenges our assumptions about adoption, motherhood, and morality. It's not just a story, it's a mirror held up to society. Finally, on Falling. Laura Carrera's debut is a gut punch of social realism, but what makes this really interesting is its focus on bureaucratic indifference rather than outright villainy. Aurora's story isn't just about her struggles, it's about the systems that grind people down. The warehouse setting feels like a metaphor for modern capitalism, where individuals are reduced to cogs in a machine. What many people don't realize is how this film humanizes the invisible workers who keep our world running. It's heartbreaking, but it's also a call to empathy. So, there you have it. 7 films, each with its own unique perspective and something to say. Personally, I think what ties them all together is their ability to make us think, feel, and question. Whether it's through historical drama, action, or social realism, these films remind us that storytelling isn't just entertainment, it's a way to connect with the world. What do you think? Which one are you most excited to watch? Let me know in the comments below.